Hey, it's Dave from RenKit. Today we're going to install a 4-inch eRam kit into this 996 Turbo Cabriolet. I've got the kit here, I've got some tools with us. We'll explain what all these tools are and how these eRams go up into the car. So stay tuned, we're about to get started. Okay, the first step is to open up the back lid. Key to on. Next we'll run the wing up. The next step is to unhook the battery. You'll notice that I've covered up the back of the car with this moving blanket, and that's to protect the paint from any tools or any other kind of damage. The next thing I'm going to do is take the RenKit pin wrench to remove the wing. So what you do is, on these chrome tubes, feel around until you feel a hole in that tube. The hole shouldn't go all the way through, it should stop in another bushing that's inside of the chrome tube. I've found the hole in the tube, it's right here on the other side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my wrench in there and I'm going to turn clockwise from the top to loosen it, and it's a 1/4 turn bayonet bolt in there. I'm going to spin that tube 1/4 of a turn and the wing will pop off. There, the wing is loose. First I'm going to feel for that hole. There it is right there. Put the pin in the hole. Now you may have to spin the chrome tube until the pin engages. This one's engaged. Turn this clockwise from the top until it pops off. It's a 1/4 turn. There, it's off. Now you can see what this looks like here and what the wing lug looks like. There's a pin through there. This is the wing lug, which goes into this bayonet bolt, and when you turn it, it locks into the pin. This tube spins relative to this inner bushing with the slot in it. Once we've got the lid open, the next step is to take off the snorkel. So there's a couple of 10mm bolts here and here holding the snorkel up. And I'll just put these bolts right back in to hold them in place for when we're ready to put the snorkel back on. You'll notice I have the engine bay completely covered here. That way, when I'm taking out all these various nuts and bolts, if anything falls down, it'll catch it on this blanket to cover up the engine bay. I'm going to start removing all of these bolts that hold this black shroud in place. I want to remove this clip right here that's holding the wiring harness on. You can see it's just got a couple of zip ties and there's a clip back here. So we'll remove the wiring harness from this clip. We're going to use our 10mm socket to remove all of these bolts that are holding this black plastic shroud in place. 10. I'm going to start at the bottom and work my way up. Slide this down. We have to get it, work it past the deck lid shocks, and now we can see the pump and motor for the hydraulic system. We can see the left ram and the right ram. There's some wiring that's hooked up here. This cover here is hiding the micro switches and the wiring that's hooked up right here. So we just simply pull this cover down and it snaps off. You can see here we have the micro switches hooked up and a wire coming out with a zip tie. I'm to remove the left hydraulic ram. These wires get snipped off. Top wire is gray and black. Bottom wire set is blue and black. We'll snip those off close to the micro switches, like that. Now we're loose with the wiring. 5mm long driver here. I'm going to remove the right side hydraulic ram. These are the two leads that go to the motor, to the hydraulic system. There's a black one and a red one. I'll just simply pull those off like that. And these will get connected up to the eRam kit later. Now that we have both rams disconnected, I'm going to disconnect the hydraulic syringes with motor from the back side of this shroud. Got our 10mm socket. I just removed these acorn nuts. Now we'll remove the hydraulic system from the car. Hydraulic mechanism, we'll go store this in a moisture-proof plastic tub and we'll hand that over to the next owner should we sell the car. Now we'll put the shroud back on with the fan, making sure that these wires are tucked behind and that the motor wires are exposed here. I'll have to work it past the wires here, start bolting it in. Always start the threads by hand and finish up with the socket wrench. I'm just putting in these bottom bolts and I'm leaving them loose because I want to be able to have some play up here for when I put in the eRams. Just remove this rubber band and take these long bolts out. Be careful, there are a lock washer and a flat washer on each one. I'm going to take this top wing bushing off with my 3mm hex or Allen wrench. Loosen that up. There's a short set screw here. Loosen that up. And this slides right off. We'll set that aside. Now with the wing bushing off, we're going to slide this assembly, holding it tight. There's a blue wiper seal right here. This is called the seal plate. We're going to put it loosely behind, run the shaft through, and put everything tight up against the back of the lid. Now I'll put a bolt in, get it started. Lining all those plates up, and screw that socket head bolt in a little bit. Make sure the threads are not cross thread. Put the bottom one in, lining up these plates, lining it up to the hole. I'll go ahead and run those up hand tight. I have a Allen head, extended head driver bit here. I'm going to just tighten that up by hand. We'll torque it later. Sometimes you have to move it around a little bit to get everything to line up. There, that's hand tight. Hand tight. Now we'll tighten this one. These are designed for a little bit of play and movement, and once we get the wing on, that'll get everything settled in the right position, and then we'll torque these down. Loosen up the long set screw, loosen up the short set screw, just a little bit. One turn is fine. Notice that this plate is cut out to fit the shroud profile. So now we're ready to put that in place. Put our bolt in, socket head bolt, get it started. Get the next one started, making sure the plates are lined up correctly in the back. The third one here. I will use my long bit. It is a 5mm. Tighten these up by hand. Wiggle it around a little bit, get the play out. There we go. Now it's getting nice and tight. And the final one here. One thing that's preset from Renkit is this bolt right here. We call it the spider clamp bolt. And it holds this clamping force and holds this rotating circular insert in position. That's set at Renkit, and we don't recommend loosening up or changing this bolt unless there's a problem where the ram needs to be rotated one way or the other for fitment, or we need to move the ram up or down to get an even situation with the wing. However, that's extremely rare. This bolt should never be loosened up. It's factory preset. It's important to note that the position of these rams relative to the back of the car. In this position, they'll fit down between the airbox when the lid is closed. This is a set of 4-inch eRams. The 3-inch are the same. The 4 3/4-inch are the same. The 2-inch is a different position. These are positioned differently. Check the instructions. I'm going to take a long zip tie. I'm going to pull this cable tight like this, very tight, and then I'm going to zip tie it around the barrel of the ram like this. Pull it tight. There. As you can see, that's good and tight. I'm going to take this cable and I'm going to run it above the shroud up here. So we'll pull the shroud back down a little bit. Now the cable is behind the shroud. Here's the bag that all the electrical parts came in. I'll open that up. We'll get out the micromodule, wire ties, the connectors. So in the bag, you'll have a micromodule, looks like this. This side of the micromodule has two LEDs, a green one and a red one. The other side does not. Here's the back side, here's the front side. We're going to strip back the wiring that we clipped off the micro switches earlier. You can see this was the bottom micro switch, has a blue and a black wire, and the top micro switch has a gray and a black wire. So I'm going to take my wire strippers. I'm going to strip about 1/4 inch, very fine wire. Okay, that's the black one, the gray one. Then up here I'm going to pull the sheathing back. I'm going to strip 1/4 inch from the black one, and 1/4 inch from the... This is about 24 gauge wire. I'm going to twist this blue wire like this, twist the black wire. Up here I'm going to twist the other black wire, the gray wire. Like that. So these are all twisted. This sheathing is a little bit too long, so I'm going to cut it back. I'm going to stick my cutter in there and cut this sheathing back a little ways, like this. Being careful not to cut off those wires. There. Here are the leads that run the rams up and down. These are quite thick wires here. And I'm going to take my strippers and strip back some of the wire. I'm going to assume these are 16 gauge, and I'm going to take about 1/4 inch off. Like that and like that. There. Now I'm going to twist these. Now they're twisted. The best thing to do would be to tin these with a soldering iron, and I happen to have a battery operated soldering. First I'm going to put a little flux on these wires like this. They are twisted. I have a little bit of solder here, and this is my portable soldering iron. I'm going to set it to 750. Next we'll hook up the blue and gray wires. So from the micromodule we have a 2x2 toggle, and I'm going to match up the blue wire on this side to the blue wire on this side. Put it in all the way, make sure it's bottomed out, press the toggle down, check it to make sure it won't pop out. Then I'm going to put the gray wire in, same idea, push it in all the way, snap the toggle down, check it. That's connected up. So I'm going to open up this toggle and hook it to the red wire on the harness. Okay, tug on them, they're solid. Red and brown wires from the micromodule into this 2x4 connector. First I'll open up these two blue toggles, and that's where we put the two signal wires that are black. So here are the two black signal wires. There's a black one with the blue and a black one with the gray. First I'll push one in all the way, snap the toggle, Then I'll push the other one in all the way, snap the toggle. Okay, those are connected up. Now the red one right here is hooked up to this orange toggle. So we'll open up these orange toggles on this side, and that's where the two red RAM wires go. So I'll put one red RAM wire in, snap it down, and the other red RAM wire in, snap it down, give them a little tug. Okay, they're solid. Next we'll hook up the black wire on the harness, and that goes into this one right here. This one from the harness. Okay, check it, they're snug. I'm going to open these two up. Next we have to hook up the two black RAM wires to the RAM motors, and those go into this 1x3 connector. Push one in all the way, snap it down, push the other one in all the way, snap it down. Check them, make sure they're in there all the way and that they won't come back out. So now you can see we have the black harness to the black RAM motor wires and the black short wire to the MicroModule right here. We're going to pull the left plug set out of the holder, the one closest to the engine mount. Here we see the left plug set pulled out, and what we're going to do is connect up to the black wire that you can see right there. There's one black wire. Now this is hard to do because there's no room to work here, and I'll show what it looks like once it is on this black wire right here. Bolts are back in for the shroud. None of our wires are pinched, everything looks good. I want to check the operation of the rams, so everything is hooked up electrically. Before I button up the back end and tidy up all the wiring, I'm going to check to make sure that they work. Get on the switch, come up. Now we'll wait a few seconds, push the down side of the spoiler button and hold it in for 10 seconds. Now we're going to remove these two quarter turn bolts here, bayonet bolts some call them. We need to reuse those in our eRam kit. We're going to slide them into these wing bushings right here. I bought this nice little tool at Harbor Freight. So we set the tool up like this, grab the circlip, squeeze it together. The next one. Now this may release with some force, so we're going to point this towards the bottom, like this. And it may bounce back, so wear your safety glasses. But we're going to squeeze the circlip and it'll pop out. Okay, it wasn't pretty, but I got it off. And here's a top tip. These are the pistons at the hydraulic system. My hydraulics were already moved out. What I should have done was lowered the hydraulics or lowered the wing before doing this step. There's a spring inside here that's pushing. When you take the circlip off, it really wants to push out hard and knock this all loose. I caught it in this padded moving blanket. So now everything's out. So this is what it looks like. You got this cap, you've got the circlip on top, you've got this bayonet bolt, which is held in by a pin. We're going to knock that pin out with our drift pin and take this quarter turn bolt out. So I'm going to just use another hammer, something hard to set this against. I've got my drift pin here. I'm going to say it's about 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to just knock pin out. There. Pin is out. Now we can push this out, and that's what we were after right there. Our 2 quarter turn bayonet screw ends. Now we'll get our aluminum wing bushings here, and we're going to just slide those right in there like that. Like that. So you can see the quarter turn bolt sticking out. And I'm going to line these up on the wing. and the long set screw in the middle. I have a rather large screwdriver here. While I push down on this wing, I'm going to turn this until it turns a quarter of a turn. The other side here. There. Check them to make sure they're not loose or wobbly. They feel pretty good. Make sure these bolts are tight. Line up these long set screws towards the center. Short set screw towards the front of the car. Now we'll put the wing on. I'm going to run this red wire up alongside the deck shock. First step is to open up this deck shock. There's a couple of clips back here on the other side. Then we run the red wire up through this clamp. I'll put the red wire in, then I'll put the loom in, clamp it back. There. A couple of small zip ties right here on that clip with the red wire. Put one on each side. Put those all together, use a large zip tie cable, tie them together like that. Then we'll position them up here. I'm going to So I'll be hidden by the snorkel. Use a small zip tie to tie these all together back here to the loom, but not the actual micromodule. We're going to leave it hanging out. You'll see why when I'm done. So everything but the micromodule here, zip tie together. Now that'll all be behind the snorkel. That should be just fine right there, like that. Check the positioning. Put these bolts in to hold the snorkel in place. The micromodule is still visible. I'll use another wire tie and put one around that red wire. See, the red light is still lit up on the micromodule. Now that everything is tidied up inside the engine compartment, the snorkel's on, the rams are set, they're in the right position, the lid closes fine without any sort of hindrance here around the airbox or the side of the car. We've got good fitment there. And so everything's done in here. Now we're going to move on to putting the wing on. We are going to lower the lid, run the rams up. So the wing is ready to put on, and we can see that these long set screws have to line up with these holes right here. So I'm going to just make a quick adjustment on those. This one I have to rotate a little bit towards the front. This one looks pretty good. And here we have a 3mm hex wrench. And I'll stick it in there. And go ahead and tighten these all the way in. This is the long set screw. Before I tighten it all the way in, I'm going to put a little blue Loctite on it. I'm going to do the same over here, check the fitment. And it looks like it's lining up okay. I'm going to leave about a 1/4 inch or so. Add some blue Loctite. A bit of blue Loctite on the end. That'll prevent it from working out. Finish putting it in. Okay, that's bottomed out. Wipe off the excess Loctite. Now we're going to tighten up these short set screws. That on this side, good and tight. That gives us nice stability with the wing. The last step is to torque down all of the bolts. I have my 5mm Allen head, or I'll tighten these up till they just click. A couple of maintenance tips. We recommend putting some sort of a tire protectant onto these rubber boots if you option them. So I'm going to spray this with some tire protection liquid. This one happens to be Armor All Ultra Shine. Now the other side. That'll keep those looking nice for a long time. Now we'll test it for final operation. Now we'll make a final check to make sure the wing goes up and down properly. One thing to be aware of is that one side may raise slower than the other side or lower slower than the other side. On this particular eRam kit, it took about 7 cycles before they evened out. And I added a little bit more of the lubricant to the slower side and then they evened out. You can read the instructions and they'll tell you that it may take several cycles of the rams to get both sides even up and down. If after a month or two you're still having a little bit of a problem, please contact RenKit. We'll help you solve it.